and I'm going to press record on this brand new episode of the Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Leaders and healers, gamers and claimers, ladies and gentlemen from around the universe, from around the globe, from around the community, wherever you are listening passively or actively online or in your car or at home or just sitting around chilling in nature, welcome to the Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast. I am your host, Anthony Cheam, ready to serve you, ready to give you the best of what I know and what I own and what I've studied as a speaker, as an author, as a life coach, as a trainer, as a friend to you, giving you the best of what I've learned, what I've earned, and what I've returned to it, which was our podcast name yesterday. So thank you. This is a podcast where we help you clarify, claim your power, clarify your purpose, and cultivate your deepest, widest, and highest passions possible so you can ultimately live the best, most advanced, enhanced possible life possible, and then inspire others to do the exact same by upgrading and updating their life on a consistent basis and burning through challenges, conquering your fears, looking at your dark side, looking at your shadow, owning your higher self, and doing away with your lower self, but not in a destructive way, but in a very powerful and integrative way. If you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, thank you for joining us. I'm excited about this podcast. Cameron, thank you for joining us on Chatham every single day. I am so honored that you're here on this podcast. I'm so honored the fact that you helped me with this technological gap that I have in my life. I have no idea how you're doing this, but you're doing it. And I just get to speak my truth, speak my life, and just love life and just to give and serve the greater good of all mankind, of all humanity, and all the animals and plants around us. So let me stop talking. Let me introduce the show. Cam, what's going on, man?
I really appreciate that wonderful intro. And honestly,
Okay.
It's an honor for me to be able to help. Like a millennial, grew up on technology. I know exactly. And it's funny because not many people know this, but because the reason I'm really good at technology is because I just kept modding video games. And I was just really addicted to video games that I just wanted to mess around with the files, and that's basically that's history. So no, I'm very, very happy. Like seeing you pumped about your vision makes me pumped about mine, and it's very contagious. And not to mention, I'm on a podcast where I learn myself. Like I've journaled so much of what we talk about. It's insane. And anytime somebody has a question, I remember oh, we talked about that on the podcast. You should go listen to it because then it's done. But no, I'm very excited. And today's topic is intense. This looks like I'm really excited to hear that too. But I real quick I told you before the show that I wanted to get just a little bit more personal updates at the beginning of the show, just to see what's going on with you. Just to sort of what you said, he's real, just to get people to understand that, just to see what's going on in your life, what you're thinking, what you're learning, maybe what your problems are, or not problems, but trials and tribulations and stuff like that, because
for sure
nobody's perfect. I have my fair share of that kind of stuff, and I'm sure you do too. But anyways, how are you doing? Because the moment we got on the call, you were yelling. You're like, Cam, what's up? I'm happy. Let's go. And I'm like, Anthony, what's going on? Is it caffeine?
Is this Is
it the juice? What are you on right now?
Really you? Yeah, I know. Okay, so the people out there that are listening to this podcast, for the people that know me personally, I am a crazy, exuberant, and just effulgent, crazy loving guy. I'm a touchy-feely guy. I love hugs. I love people making people feel good, but that drains me emotionally too. So I do get tired. I do get exhausted, but it's both exhausting and exhilarating at the same time. But I'm getting ready for Christmas. 2 weeks today, it's Christmas, and 1 week today I'm turning 40. And man, let me tell you something. I'm excited. I'm really excited. Deep down, I really am. My ego's telling me you're getting old, but you know what? It's just another number to me. My age is right now, and I really don't care what number comes after next. As long as I'm serving, I'm giving my best, and I'm honoring myself, honoring the gifts I've been given, and helping other people. And that's what my true vision is. And each and every single day, I do get tired. By the end of the day, I am literally slurring my words around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I'm like, ugh. So, and my kids will attest, my wife will attest to that. The person you should be asking that to is my wife. If I could have her on my podcast, she would tell you how things really are living in Anthony Cheam's world. And she's the one person that keeps me grounded all the time. You know what her one line is all the time for the most part? Oh, I wonder what those people reading your books would say. Or the people listening to your podcast or your clients would say, right? I'm like, oh, snap. That's in your face, right? So other than that, you know what? I'm feeling really good about my life. My personal challenges that I'm going through right now, I would say, is honestly that I feel like I've reached my limit in terms of how many people I can serve from a coaching point of view, one-on-one or a family point of view. I am basically fully booked, which is great. It's a good problem to have, but I find myself, I just wanted to help these people so badly, which is why I'm on this podcast, which is why I speak, which is why I do write these books, so people can have access to me, not just coaching and seminars or whatever I'm doing, but also books and podcasts, so I can get inside their minds on a daily basis. And this seems to a couple of my clients just love it, because they get to drive to work and listen to me rant for 20 minutes and go, wow, feel supercharged, feel ready to go. But I would say that's the biggest problem I'm having right now. I want to help people heal, and I sometimes got to let go of after the session's done and allow them to learn, earn, return on their own, because I can't make someone learn, earn, return on their own. But I'm living a supercharged life. I want to give that to you. I want to give all those strategies and principles to you. Cam's drinking water. I'm drinking my juice. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to serve. Oh yeah, I'm drinking my freshly squeezed juice. Look at this avocado. We got some apple in there, kale. We got some celery and cucumber. Bam! That's supercharged energy. I'm crazy. Remember the time you came to my house and I made you one? You and Bren were like, "Whoa, is this drugs?"
No, that was crazy. Like the moment it got to my stomach, I was like awake. It was like, God. It was amazing. No, honestly, it really was. But you know, the one thing I appreciate about you, and even like Tony Robbins for that matter, is. Like, people always think, oh, they must be perfect. They must never go through anything. They're, like, just happy all the time and pumped all the time. But really, like, I feel like you guys, of all people, would have the lowest lows because of how much energy you're burning off, how much of yourself you're giving to people. And it takes a lot to hit a low and not fall into a negative pattern of, like, negative habit of, like, maybe drugs or alcohol or TV or whatever, you know, because it's tough dealing with that low, like, whatever, especially when all the stimulation you could ever ask for is out there in the world right now.
You're absolutely right.
And so
you're absolutely right.
It's very admirable for sure.
Well, thank you, Cam. And the fact that you're even putting me in the same category as Tony Robbins, I mean, like, that is another, I'm not sure if I deserve that. I certainly haven't earned that, but it's thank you for putting me on the same level. And Jared says, sell me some of your juice, Anthony. Come over to my house anytime. I'll make you one. You'll be like hooked and addicted to it. In any case, but you know what? Thank you for that, Cam. Thank you for people joining us. And we're ready to start this podcast. I don't know how you wrote it on the Facebook page, but the three surest ways to live a supercharged emotional life. And the reason why I was talking about this, because yesterday's podcast, I talked about how humans, according to many of the traditions, agree that we have at least three bodies: the gross body, physical body, the mind, soul, subtle body, and the spiritual causal body, the unified body as well. So, and the question is that I was talking to someone about it, and someone asked me the question. They listened to this podcast and they said, how do I work out my emotional, mental, soul body and make that as vital and healthy as humanly possible? So, and the first thing I said was there are three components to a surest ways to supercharge and revitalize and exercise your emotional, mental, and even your physical well-being, because your physical well-being can affect your mental, emotional, soul, and spiritual well-being, and vice versa. So there's this involution going downward, and there's this evolution going upwards. So you want to work out and exercise and keep all three bodies working at the highest peak levels. And when you have those three bodies working at high performance levels, man, you literally have access to genius potential. No joke. Superhuman potential. And this is not my work. This is the work of Ken Wilber, all the developmental psychologists out there, spiritual people. They've studied all this stuff. I've taken many courses on this stuff, and it's not me just blabbering on about theory. This is real and raw stuff. And the three surest ways to exercise and to supercharge your emotional life, number one is gratitude. We've done podcasts on gratitude. And let me tell you something. I probably give thanks for so many different things, probably about 50 times a day. No joke. I was just with a client prior to this podcast, and I said, you know what? I'm so blessed. I live in Burlington, Ontario, one of the greatest cities in all of Canada. It's voted by a bunch of different standards, one of the greatest cities to live in mid-sized cities in Canada. And I'm so blessed that I have feet to walk. I've got hands to hold. I've got eyes to see. You know, there are people in my latest Instagram post, Facebook post, I talked about the 40 reasons why you're blessed. And I believe today's was the 40 reasons why you're blessed. Reason number 31, it was washers and dryers. Every time you turn on your washer or your dryer and you push a button, You don't have to actually go to a lake or a stream and wash your clothes for 2 or 3 hours. You just push a button, boop, and walk away. You're blessed. You're abundant. And so I'm constantly exercising my mind, my emotions by being totally grateful. I'm grateful for the fact that Cam's on this podcast, all the people on this podcast right now, Jared, we got this Elijah, we got so many different people. I can't really read so many people, but the point is, I just want to impact people's lives with my gratitude, with my presence. And that's one of the ways to literally, to literally collapse fear. I literally, when you're grateful, fear, you can't feel fear. When you're feeling grateful, when you're feeling explosive amounts of energy, I like to call it a gratitude explosion, and you're just feeling grateful for everything, the sun shining. I'm even grateful.
Something I heard, sorry to cut you off. Something I heard real quick, I think it was Tony Robbins that said this pretty recently. He said that it's really hard to go from despair or sadness to happiness and joy and excitement. But the easiest thing to do, and you could always do this no matter how low you are, you can go from depression to appreciation, or sadness to appreciation. It's basically, gratitude is like a bridge to those emotions, because you can't just instantly feel joy like instantly when you're like super sad or super depressed. But if you just find something to be grateful for, it offers you a path to that emotion that you want to feel. That's just something that I heard really recently that put it into perspective nicely.
You got it. And that reminds me of the sort of the Bible story of Job, when God tests, he does this little wager with the devil, so to speak. And the story goes like, and the devil says, I will make sure your number one servant will detest you and hate you, and I'll take away everything. He's like, oh, okay, you can do whatever you want to this guy, and take away, but you can't kill him. He takes away his health, blow number one, his family, blow number two, his wealth, number three. And he sits there, and he's basically lost everything. And I guess his wife or someone walks by and says, man, where's your God now? And he looks at the woman and says, praise God. And basically after the whole story's done, it doesn't end there. God blesses him with double the wealth, double the family, double the health, the wealth, and family. And so the idea is that our struggles, if we're able to push through them and be grateful for them and produce strength through those struggles. And as you said, it's hard. As you said, I love that. Gratitude's a bridge towards, from sadness to hope, to fulfillment, to happiness, to joy, to exhilaration, all these things. I mean, we're arguing semantics in terms of the English language, but the point of the matter is that when you're grateful and you just sit in gratitude most of the time, you supercharge your body, you supercharge your emotion, you release serotonin, you release this endorphin kick, you just feel good about your life, and you're able to focus and perceive things differently when you're actually feeling grateful. So people out there, just start thinking of the minute and the small things in life that you have, that you just take for granted. Like the fact that I'm drinking this. Every time I drink this, I'm like, oh, thank you. This is liquid love. This is liquid love right here from the earth. Right here, earth has grown, and the farmers that grow these crops, celery, cucumbers, God bless you guys, to the universe. The carrots, the juice, the apples, all these things, the water. I get to turn on every time you turn on the tap. You're abundant because you didn't have to walk a mile to get your fresh water. Every little things like that. The fact that you could watch this podcast, just be grateful for that. And as you start to inculcate and cultivate gratitude, you're going to feel better about your life. And that's one way to exercise your emotional, mental, subtle body. The other part is this: kindness. Just showing an act of kindness to somebody, or compassion, opening a door for someone and saying, thank you. No, thank you, sir. Hey, by the way, I like your shoes, and be genuine about it. Compliment somebody, make someone feel better about themselves. You see someone upset, then you try to make them feel, you make it a game to try to make them feel better. I had an experience just recently, literally about last Friday. I was returning something, a Christmas present that I bought. I returned it, and the person at the teller said, oh, you're past the due date. And I was like, oh, really? And she was like, well, you can't return it. And I started getting a little bit of an argument with her, no joke. And then she said, well, I'm going to return it anyway. I'll return it. And then we started to kind of talk, and I was like, you know what? I'm really sorry for getting mad at you. I know you're just doing your job. And I just feel really, I'm just stressed out right now. I apologize. And I literally got her name, and I started talking to her, and I was making a connection with her. I said, what's your name? Da, da, da. And I shook her hand. I said, it's really nice to meet you. I hope to see you again. And I saw her that very next day, and I smiled at her. I said, hey, what's going on? I said, great, good morning. Smiled at her. You look really energized today. And I just complimented her. I just made her feel good in that moment. And now we've developed this great relationships out of something terrible. Again, I took responsibility for my part in it. And I just want to, I often say to people, how people treat you is their karma. How you respond is yours. So don't treat people as bad as they are. Treat people as good as you are. Focus on you. be kind, be compassionate. The Dalai Lama says, my religion is simple. My religion is kindness. Number 3, forgiveness. Oh my gosh. Forgiveness. We've done podcasts on this before. Oh, sorry.
What was number 2?
Kindness.
Oh,
So, kindness.
I'm
Just
so
being
sorry.
kind.
Because I heard gratitude and I didn't.
No,
Wow,
no.
maybe I'm the one not listening. Who knows?
No problem. So
Okay.
gratitude's number 1. Acts of kindness, random acts of kindness. In fact, there's a book called Random Acts of Kindness I read a long time ago. I highly recommend you read it. You can probably get it online or get an audiobook from it. It's a great book, just great stories of people just giving random acts of kindness to people. In fact, I believe that book was, there's a movie, Pay It Forward, based on that book. Called Pay It Forward, a great book. And Jared says I had a similar story, by the way. So thank you for sharing that, Jared. But the point of the matter is being kind to people, and looking at your life sometimes when you're stressed out. Ask yourself this question: who's going through something worse than I am that I can serve? I mean, a lot of people out there that are stressed. Money stress is, relationship stress. What can you do? What's one of my spiritual teachers used to say, what's the most loving thing you can do for yourself in this moment? What's the most loving thing you can do for someone else in this moment? And it's a great question to ask, and go to work on answering it, and then go to work on acting out of that question. So again, gratitude, kindness, and the third one is forgiveness. And I can tell you, forgiveness is one of those concepts, those principles, those practices that I do daily. Forgiving myself first. And I like to define forgiveness as giving forth love when there's no reason to. Even when your ego tells you not to give love, you just give it anyway out of a deep place, saying a sense that, you know what, I'm a human. I'm giving myself permission to make mistakes. And I'm also giving other people permission to make their mistakes as well. There's also a meditation that I do. It's a great meditation. I won't get into it too much detail, but what I do is I get people to think about somebody that's hurt them. And focus on them, and then or something that you don't necessarily like or you despise, and think about it. And I want you to think about this person in detail, what they've done to you. And then I want you to think about when they were a child and they were physically abused or verbally abused. And as you see them being physically abused, you realize that's where they're coming from, that they too were abused, and they're just acting out their previous past behaviors or previous wounds or whatever it might be. And I take them through people, like the people that they love. I take people that they know at the grocery store. I take the people that they know from a distant planet or someone across the world, and I take them through people that they don't like, and I get them to send love to every one of them, including yourself. And we all have the archetype of the good person inside us, the angel and the devil. And it's good to actually have conversations with both our golden shadow, the higher self, and our dark shadow, the devil or the enemy or the ego or the inner cynic, and have conversations and be okay with not destroying that inner cynic, but having conversations and saying, this is a part, I'm not going to try and destroy it. I'm just going to, remember I told you guys who are listening to this podcast, you can either try and extract the acid out of the tub full of water, or you can add more water. So add more water. That doesn't mean you take away the acid. You add, as you add more water, as you add more love, as you add more compassion, love, and forgiveness and gratitude, it's going to dilute the hate, the anger, the frustration, the enemy, or the ego, or whatever you want to call it. But the point of the matter is that as you start to cultivate gratitude and kindness and be kind toward yourself and being grateful for yourself, as well as the gifts you've been given, and then on top of that, forgive yourself on a daily basis for the mistakes you made and the mistakes other people made. Man, there's this release. It's almost like a great example of this is Wayne Dyer. Remember, Cam, the story when Wayne Dyer, he forgave his father, and then 18 days, he wrote, Your Erroneous Zones after he forgave his father. Out of that act of forgiveness, he was able to produce a great creation in his first book. And in that book in the 70s was the best-selling book in the 70s, 70 million copies in print. Out of that despair, he wrote Power of Intention after his divorce with his wife. Like, can you imagine? Like, he wrote that book, and before he died, he said, that was probably my best works of art, and he doesn't even know how he did it. Out of his suffering, out of his struggle, he was able to produce something big. And for the people out there that can listen, and I just played for a funeral just maybe about 2 hours ago, and it was a teacher at a school, and there's so many people, the outpouring of love and compassion and kindness. And I heard the priest say this. He said, one guy said, there's no beauty in suffering. What's beautiful is the compassion that surrounds the suffering, the joy and the giving of ourselves that surrounds and cloaks and blankets the suffering. So any thoughts there, Cam?
I mean, not to mention when somebody passes away and you're suffering, you're in grief or whatever, that literally just means you have a lot of love for this person inside of you, and you're now expressing that in this way. Like Ram Dass would say, your pain is this person's legacy to you. And like, it's like, whoa, holy, like, yeah, if they were an asshole, I wouldn't care if they died. You know what I mean? So like, that's a very powerful thing. It's funny. I literally just got a message from my brother, and I had a dream that he got shot in front of me. And it's weird because it took a little bit of time for that to kick in for me. Like the feeling of like, oh, my brother just got murdered right in front of me. And all of a sudden I was like so many tears, and like my heart was being destroyed by 1,000 million needles. Like just everything was just crashing down. And I remember I was like holding somebody, I don't know who it was, but I was just like, why did this have to happen? I like couldn't even speak like at all. I was like so choked up. And then I woke up feeling like, wow, that's how much I love my brother. Like really, that's how much love there is inside of me. Like a lot of people, that's like the one thing I remind people when, you know, a family member passes away and they're upset about it, is like that right there proves how much you care. Or if someone's worried about losing somebody, or somebody's very protective over someone, I would just say like, wow, thank you for worrying about me. Like you care enough to have these concerns, which is amazing. Most people would be like, oh, get off my back, man, just leave me alone. But really, that's like a powerful thing. And when you said about the forgiveness thing, like sometimes a lot of you probably don't need to forgive anybody. Maybe you don't care, like maybe you're not as caught up. But I think the thing Wayne Dyer experienced was the heavy contrast. You can walk into the shower and be upset that you can't get the right temperature. But if you just came back from 10 years of having to take a bucket to a stream and that's how you get water, and then you hop into a shower that has wonky temperature, you'll be like in heaven. And so the contrast from I'm enraged by my father for 30 years, and then all of a sudden all of that rage is gone, that contrast is what got him to appreciate neutrality, got him to appreciate chilling for a while and not having this huge burden. So whatever that burden is, maybe it isn't forgiveness. Like I was, when I heard Wayne Dyer's story, I was instantly thinking, oh man, do I need to like hate somebody for 10 years and then forgive them to like get to that point? Because I was like, I don't understand, like, you know, but really I don't. What I need to do is whatever weight is on my shoulders, get rid of that. It doesn't have to be a forgiveness, doesn't have to be anything specific, but as long as I get rid of that contrast and I just see things for what they are. So well, you know what there, Cam, I think the three components we just covered, like forgiveness, kindness, and gratitude, they've been studied in scientific experiments, like the actual act of gratitude and kindness, random acts of kindness and forgiveness, and what it does to your physical body. It literally lights up your body. The health and vibrance of your body goes to your physical health, not just your emotional. So again, they're not, as I say to people, the mind and body aren't connection. There's no connection. They're inseparably one. What you do to the mind will affect the body. What you do to the body will affect the mind. So it's good to not just get your physical body better and healthy, but also your mental, emotional, soul body a lot better. In terms of spirituality, we can talk about, you know, meditation and prayer another day. But the point of the matter is that if you want to juice your life, if you want to have liquid love, but also soul love and mental and emotional love, those are three of the surest ways to supercharge your emotion, to supercharge your energy, and increase your vitality. I was going to say, when it comes to forgiveness as well, because forgiveness isn't just like saying, oh, okay, I don't hold against you anymore, but like, I still don't like you. You know what I mean? Like that's not, forgiveness is truly like loving someone for who they are, like loving them. Like that's probably what lights your nervous system up, is the person you despised for so long, or you had beef with, or whatever it might be. This person, if you're able to love them, there's like this feeling, I know what it's like, this feeling in your heart where it's like, wow, not only do I just let go, I actually appreciate them and love them for who they are, and all of that. That's very important.
And you know what? That's another level of love. Like that's the highest level of love. Loving those who don't love you back or despise you or hate you. Like that's like Jesus on the cross or Buddha, or Gandhi or Mother Teresa. That's a level of, or Nelson Mandela. That's another Martin Luther King. It's another level of love. But we all have it inside us to be that way. It's not like those are only given to those special people. We all have that sort of sense of that. And in actually one of my meditations there, Cam, what I do towards the end of my meditation, I think of everyone around the world, animals, the grass, the sun, you know, Donald Trump, people. And I literally repeat this. I love you. I love you. And I send out love to every single human, regardless of race, color, sex, or creed, animals, the water, the universe, the stars, the moon, everybody. And I just send it out, send it out, send it out, send it out. And I want to reach that level where I'm just giving love for the sake of, just because there's nothing else to do. And, you know, I remember reading a book that you reach a point in spiritual growth and spiritual love and equanimity that there's no need for forgiveness anymore because you never condemned anybody. That's another level of love when you're just like, you don't condemn anybody. It's like when Jesus said to Mary Magdalene, I didn't condemn you, so there's no forgiveness necessary. And that's how I interpreted it anyway. So, but yeah, I would suggest, you know, practicing those three things, cultivating gratitude, you know, being kind towards yourself and others, doing more for others than, you know, than they would expect, going, you know, the extra mile to be kind and loving towards other, compassion towards others. And as you said there, Cam, I think one of the most important things I've learned in my life, I'm continuing to learn and to master, and it's certainly unfolding in my life, is to when someone's acting weird or angry or enraged, just take a step back and go, wow, they're in a lot of pain right now. It has nothing to do with me. I remember Dr. Robert Rome saying, people don't do things to you. They do things for themselves based on the state that they're in, their personality traits, and their needs and values. It really has nothing to do with you. So if you can kind of take a step out of yourself and just, you know, develop that objective view, that compassion, that kindness of heart, the open heart, and not rejection or condemnation or criticism. You know, if they come up, just let them arise and then acknowledge them, but then move towards compassion and kindness. And I promise that your emotional life will be charged. Disease will almost leave your body. Your healing components will just be turned on in every aspect of your life: kidneys, livers, lungs, your brain, your heart, wherever. And if you're looking for that vital charge, these are three: gratitude, kindness, and forgiveness. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And Jared, I would like one last comment. A guy is helping me. I may have done him wrong. I feel like he's giving me wrong advice. What should I do? Well, the fact that he's trying to help you, just be thankful that he's trying to help you. And whether you don't have to accept the advice or not, whether you agree with it, the fact that he's giving of himself or herself to you is his or her way of giving you love. And you just honor them for that. Just like Buddha said, when he was dying, he was being fed some raw, rancid food, and he was dying. And then the guy was like, one of his students was like, should I tell the chef what you did? And he's like, no. Could you imagine you told the chef that you just killed the Buddha? That's not going to make him feel good. He's going to be in torment for the rest of his life. He said, no, I want you to ask him this question. What would be better, to prepare a meal for the last meal, nourishing meal for the Buddha before he dies, or prepare a meal through which this person prepare a meal that actually activates the Buddha to this highest level of enlightenment? So, I mean, that's another level of wisdom and love. And there's no greater wisdom than love and compassion. So, ladies and gentlemen, leaders and healers, gamers and claimers from throughout the universe, thank you for joining us. Yeah, Cam, what were you going to say?
I just wanted to say thank you, man. Like it's really hard for me to express how actually thankful I am to have you a part of my life. Like, a lot of people, I wrote here, because you talked about taking things for granted, right? That's the opposite of gratitude. Complaining is the opposite of gratitude. And like, yeah, I just never want to take people like you for granted, because there are not many people who, when they walk into a room or even they say your name or talk to you, that light you up instantly. And you're that type of person. And I figured I needed to tell you that, because I know that in telling you that, it would inspire you to do it even more and be even more energetic and all this stuff.
You,
like, I can tell you that type.
Man. I'm ready
the
to
moment
go,
you hear it, you're like, okay, we're doubling down on this. So I just thought real quick, I would tell you that you are a huge help, even just in the way you carry yourself, even just in the way that you lead by example. So
thank you.
Great show. It was a good show.
Dude. It is an absolute honor. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining us. Jared, people are on Facebook, people are on YouTube, people are on Instagram. Thank you for joining us. We really hope this is helping you, that these shows are helping you and guiding you to a higher level of upgrade and emotional fitness and physical health and well-being and spiritual advancement. So thank you to your continued upgrade and evolution. Live it up with power, purpose, and passion. God bless, guys. Thank you.